Alright, lads and gents. Well, it is another day, but it's the start of the week, and I'm starting to feel a bit drowny, a bit moody. It's starting to bring down the energy, and what better way to boost ourselves to the very top than with some ESA today, going in with another match. And before we step ahead of ourselves, I am Puffle Bob, I'll be your caster today, and joined along me, hi Bear, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. What better way is there to spend your Monday evening than hanging out with us,
Yeah.
watching some games, some excellent games, I might add, tonight. Ghost Army versus LDL.
Now those are some two very interesting matches, and well, actually speaking of them, it will be a best of three, so we can expect three at max, two at the least, and well, let's in the meanwhile take a look at the brackets we're going to be currently running, just so you get a bit of an idea of where teams are and where they're headed in the future, as we can see Ghost Army and LDL both at 2-0.
The big thing exactly worth noting is that these teams are on the upper bracket of this, or at the top part of this Swiss bracket. They're 2-0 in terms of their matches so far, which means this game has got some serious stakes behind it. Ghost Army LDL will be facing off for a spot in playoffs. This is to punch their ticket, lock it in before the other teams have a chance. So we'll see which team is able to move on to the playoffs and which one will have to keep fighting through this Swiss.
Fighting indeed, and as we head into the top brackets, again, stakes on the line, you want to qualify as fast as humanly possible, and both of these teams have the availability, but we also have some extra things to take a look at here, Hyber, and one of them are going to be the predictions as what the staff think of who will be taking it home, and well, it's quite close, 60-40%, LDL take the 10-20% lead, and honestly, even me deciding on who would win this matchup, it was really close. I think this is going to be a fantastic couple of sets.
Well, it's just such a tough decision. Obviously, both these teams have been flawless so far. So, making a call as to which one is going to be the one to take that eventual victory is an impossibility. There's just no information as to which of these teams does better, is able to pull out the stops when they find themselves down, when they're losing. And I mean, tonight we'll see the contest and we'll see how it pans out, but it is a tough call to make.
A very tough one indeed, and well, the main question still stands. Which maps are these players going to be duking it out? The arenas, the true fields of territory to show where you're best. And taking a look at the map band, starting out on map number 1 will be Border, followed by Nighthaven and Cafe. Hi Bear, I'm just going to ask quickly, are there any opinions when you see these three?
Three maps that actually tend to play out in relatively similar fashion. Say that seems crazy. I mean, these are three totally different maps, and granted, Border might not be part of the same sort of methodology as the other two, but they're all three maps which take a very step-based approach to be successful on the attack. You need to do certain things in order to move your opponents out of power positions before you can set up for your execute. They're not the maps that you tend to see fast rushes on. They're setup heavy. They involve window play. They involve repels, lots of rotations around the map. And it seems like both teams want to play into that sort of style, having both picked maps that absolutely feature those sorts of tendencies.
Absolutely. Tendencies indeed, and like you said it, diving into these maps will be interesting. I am very much hoping that we even get to see Cafe, as again, I think everyone watching, everyone in the background producing, and everyone right now, me and you, Hyber included, want this go and drag out just for a tiny bit. We want some good matches, toe-to-toe, neck-to-neck, whatever you want to call it, maybe even a rivalry of sorts between these two teams, because like you said it was quite impossible to even necessarily be sure of who will be coming out on top in this matchup, and seeing these maps, again, I'm having a lot of mixed opinions, especially because when you mention the fact that Border, Nighthaven, Cafe, all three definitely have their sorts of variety. Border, it's small, a lot of aggression, and a lot of gunfights. Nighthaven, it's a mix of all, kind of a clubhouse V2, while Cafe, this huge big bertha of a map that has so much exploration abilities, and that gives these two teams a lot of variety, and at the same time, a lot of options to spread out.
You talk about wanting this to go all the way to a BO3. I think personally I'm cursed. So far, only seeing games and in two maps in all my time throughout the ESA Season 10. So I would be beyond myself if we get to see that Cafe. And just on a personal note, I mean, Cafe is one of my all-time favorite maps. I love the way it's set up, the different repels that you can alternate between, all the power positions which the attack needs to clear out. It's a util focus map, which when I was playing was very much so my bread and butter. And I feel like there's a lot of insight that I can give, and I'm curious to see how these two teams approach that map.
How they'll approach it, we will have to see, as currently everyone in the background is getting a bit ready, but as we speak of it, let's start diving into them. Border will be the first here, High Bear, and I think we can really start going a bit into it, what we can expect what operators to be banned, because when the action starts, we really won't have the time to analyze everything, so let's take our sweet time here, and let's nicely coop up everything. Again, Border, small map, a lot of aggression. Teams are expected to go in quite heavy, and that also sets up for a good warm-up into the following rounds and maps, which will require a bit more teamwork, chemistry, and strategy. As though for Border, Hyber, what are we expecting to get out of it?
Border, like you say, it's that more aggressive style of map. There is still a lot of setup involved where you'll often see teams not really enter the building until the 2-minute mark, the minute and a half mark. 90 seconds left in the round is usually kind of what you're going for in terms of your point of ingress. And along those lines, bans tend to focus on execute heavy operators, initiators, things like a Ying, a Grim on the attack, or your Blitz, for example. Just operators who are designed to take away defensive space. On the defensive side, we see a little bit of the opposite. You don't want power positions to be as powerful as the attacker. You want to make it a little bit easier for you to pick apart the defense the way it's set up. So you'll see teams tend to get rid of maybe the Mira, for example, or a Valkyrie, things that provide intel and create power positions. That's kind of what I'm looking for in terms of this ban.
Absolutely. And one more thing, up until now in ESA, Rora has been undergoing a bit of a bug. As of today, there was an announcement in the Discord, and if some of you are not there, be sure to join on in, and of course, and if any of you missed it, Rora is now allowed to be played, so from today onward, we could be expecting some interesting plays with the character. Again, it is the newest or more recent release of Rainbow Six Siege operators, and at the same time, I think it's really interesting. I think people have been asking for an attacking castle for really a long time, because the defenders have been having so much ways of reconstructing the building. We have the castles, the Azamis, so much more and more, but the attackers, on the other hand, have only had limits up until smokes in way of blinding or stopping you at sight vision, while on the other hand, there hasn't been much of a blockage physically, and Rora brings that perfectly.
Yeah, it's a really interesting operator, not something that we've seen, like you say, before on the attacking half. The attack has always been missing constructors, people who can create and add on to the map. You know, the defense has been really, in the history of Siege, the only side which has the ability to make additive changes to the setup, to the map, and having something like that on the attack, instead of just the destructive potential brought along by explosives, our breach charges, smoke grenades, for example, we now have something that builds up a defensive matrix on the attack. It makes retaking really difficult. It can cause problems in terms of defensive rotations. It can be used for effective flank watch, all sorts of different applications for the Raura, and I hope to see it brought out at least a couple of times throughout our 3 maps today.
At least a couple. We're looking to a good start of the week here, High Bear. Maybe you get to see your first 3-mapper here. It would be exciting. And in the meanwhile, come on, players, bring us that excitement. It's Border, it's aggression, and we would love to see it. As in the meanwhile, again, we are going to be heading this with a lot of expectations from both of these teams. They have set a very good precedent for both of them in the past track records in ESA alone, and who knows in many other low comp tier teams, but matters not. We're heading into Border. Like we said it, this is a very small map, a lot of opportunities, and a lot of mistakes that can be dealt. So let's see who will punish who more. And anyone in chat right now, whichever team you're rooting for, let it be known. Type them out. Start hyping, because they're going to need all the help they can get.
Yeah, obviously, like you say, it's going to be a tough game for both of these teams. Ghost Army, LDL, Valour. I cannot stress this enough. Flawless so far is a really tough record to beat. Somebody's got to lose today. It's going to be one of these teams who is continuing in Swiss, while the other one moves on to that playoff bracket. And interesting first ban here, being brought along by Ghost Army, taking the Deimos off the board. Not something I saw coming.
I didn't either, honestly, but the Deimos is strong. It does come down to the fact that Border also has a lot of soft surfaces like many other maps, and Deimos, well, he's good at tracking, he's good at killing, and Border is a map that insinuates it. The second one, we can always expect a shield to be taken off, and the strongest one to currently not have much of a matchup, of course, will be the Black Bear, the gun and arms, the scar behind, the full metal plate, and going over to the defense. Mira thrives on this map quite a lot, many more on others, but Border is a fit, and we don't want to deal with that just yet, LDL Valour.
It comes down to what I was talking about as we were getting into the game. Mira is one of those constructor ops who creates power positions. And on border, power positions really are powerful indeed. So taking that off the board, making it a bit more, a little simpler to attack, to dismantle the setup that the defense confronts the attack with. And then finally the Valk off the board, like I was saying before, information is king inside of Siege. Information, especially on border. You can put these Valk cams inside of big open rooms, hide them very effectively, and get tons of intel on what the offense is doing. So Ghost Army say, we don't want to deal with any of that. Get her off the board. And yeah, that match is set. Those are our bans as we head into border.
Get her out of here! We do not want any extra disadvantages, and I imagine LDL Valour at the same time hope not to use the mirror in the first place. Maybe that isn't a part of their strategy, and there is no con to her getting rid of besides the extra pro that they don't have to deal with her. But in the meanwhile, round one is going to be underway here, players. Ghost Army on defense, LDL Valour on attack, and taking a look at the lineups, while the attackers can still 6-pick, we can really take a deep look, a dive at Ghost Army's lineup, having Legion, Doc, Mute, Azami, and Fenrir. Two of those operators called a powerhouse for a reason, because we talk about those reconstructors here, and High Bear, there is Bob the Builder on the lineup, that being Adox's Azami.
Yeah, Azami very likely to be used to set up a fortress inside of CCTV. Teams like to play that operator such that they can create one-way angles, extra cover, all towards CCTV, one of the most pivotal parts of this Armory defense. And you might be wondering, what does CC have to do with Armory? That's not the site. Why do we have to worry about it? The reason you have to worry about it is because CCTV can stop attackers from being on the Armory balcony. If attackers want to push Armory wall directly, they need to push that balcony, and without clearing out CCTV, they're going to have a lot of trouble getting themselves into a position to do so, and they're going to have a trouble doing that in this round as his headshot comes out onto the Dokkaebi of Zach.
Poor Zach didn't see it coming, and such a waste so early on, barely 30 seconds, and you lose so much intel gathering, but in the same while, also intel giving, because the Dokkaebi hacks can be quite useful, especially on cam side. In the meanwhile, Ghost Army, they've given one to LDL Valour, as in the meanwhile, the attackers here are looking to return the favor. We do see a ghouly ghost coming up the side of East, and that's going to be the Nook nonetheless. Cameras being taken out, and a lot of positions here secured nicely. The defenders looking strong, as they have really not let go of these power positions they have attained, although LDL Valour, a step will need to be made.
The knock actually spotted by the camera despite the fact that she had her gadget active. These players, they know the way that that interaction works and that the barb doesn't get punched all by itself. So they're telling themselves, hey, there's a knock on these stairs. We need to be worried about her lurking up towards East. And as she walks forward, we do see Lunar engaging with Snoozin all the way over towards that CC desk. We will see the defense winning another fight as the fights just continue, and it really seems like LDL Valour cannot get themselves into this round.
Oh, those are going to be two remaining for LDL Valour, having to fight against 5, not the best. And this is where that Doc from Yasuke is going to come in real handy to heal up Shinzo, as in the meanwhile, the first kill dropped for the attacking side. The FMG does claim 1 life, but there's still 3 more to find yourself in that lead, and I don't think Ghost Army are feeling themselves. A bit of a peak, the Fenrir does have some warning shots, and Shinzo, as we speak of the devil, the MP7, another lock-on, and that's going to be the last one remaining. Nook having to backtrack, despite a beautiful headshot, a double, triple even, and 1 magazine, enough to shut down 3, but 2 more remain. And Ghost Army, I hope they've learned their lesson, as Crossfire holding is going to be their best way of winning this gunfight.
Felt for a second like the round was over, but HCR making it a little bit closer, hitting some nasty shots with that FMG, but the time is running low. Only 30 seconds left with which to take these 2 remaining fights. Needs to try and isolate them, take some 1v1s, and the position will likely be called out by the bulletproof cam. Tosses a nade to try and get rid of it and takes a ton of damage. Survives, though, to continue to fight. C4 tossed out, forced to back up. Reloading in the center of the room is HCR as Yoshiro swings out behind, off the back of that explosion and manages to put that final bullet inside the knock.
Oh, it aches my heart for the Nook there in the final situation. The grenades being used just as you figure out the Nook, or rather the Mute, is stuck up in a cranny. A very, very deep nooking cranny that you could have completely flushed out with those nades, and the second he peeks you, you start reloading. C4 there, you can't shoot it. Your diversion is already completely off the charts, and well, Ghost Army have gotten themselves a very clean round number 1. At least that was for the first half. That second half was looking quite tedious. this, as they did lose players due to greed, but in the end, a round's a round, and hopefully we'll get to see less of those mistakes.
Overall, still quite a good defense out of Ghost Army. It was a lockout up until the very end, and while they did overpeak a little bit and open themselves up to being clutched on, I still think fundamentally they played that quite well. They set themselves up in such a dominant position that despite a nuclear performance out of the knock, working up towards that catwalk balcony, they're still able to lock that down, and let's see if Ghost Army is able to continue that dominance.
Let's see if they do so. A switch up here, as of course Ghost Army have not only one on the top floor, but seeing that Ventilation and Workshop is going to be their second best man. LDL Valour are now going to be forced to take this verticality. We can see from the operators alone, I don't think that's going to be their main focus. No ram, buck, nor sledge. Maybe hard breaches on the side, not even those. The Ace does bring one set, but Ghost Army are going to be playing full verticals. This is a power position for the defenders, and we already see some strong operators that will be of help, even aiming towards that Vigil and Solus.
Yeah, a big roam extension being played here by Ghost Army. The Solus, the Vigil, both operators which assist in that roam. And beyond that, Legion and Mute as well. Maybe not as classically popular roam operators, but they do help. Obviously, the Legion, his mines can be set up at all sorts of different doorways, which give the defense info on where these pushes are coming from. While in the meantime, Mute Jammers, spread throughout the setup, denies droning from the attack and makes it so much harder for them to figure out what's going on.
Flashes coming in. We do have some attention stolen here, and LDL Valour are putting a big red circle on their name. The Bandit Trigger will not be succeeding in time. It's too far gone. The C4 comes out, even a run out, and you find the headshot onto the Lion. No more utility, no more scans there, as of course the Dokkaebi calls have been used, and right now an opening for the defense looking towards a bright future.
Atox hitting a nasty headshot, feeling himself, and the aggression ends up working very well for him. Still one player tucked in behind half wall here, and that's a problem for this attack. If they cannot get that player to move, they can't plant, because half wall has an angle inside the vents window. And while it doesn't look like they're in any position to plant right now, they need to start thinking about it. Because with just 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock, you need to figure out where your execute is going to be.
Open-winded, Yoshiro starting to feel it. He flows along the water column H2O, and a 5v3 for Ghost Army. They're just phasing through LDL Valour. Oh, Zachary, gonna be low on HP, but matters not as your ash is taken right in front. The AK-12 delivers quite a deadly blow, fatal to one of the players, but still, you're such in a deficit. You need to make up for the players that have been lost, forcing down the position of all these defenders as they're forced into a very pressurizing area. And now 3 on the roam, given down to only 1. This Vigil last standing, as of course LDL Valour with low HP and forced to push down onto side with it.
Valour taking some fights and keeping it close despite what looked like a very strong hold out of Ghost Army. Hasn't completely fallen back, as you've noted. QLF still up towards Catwalk, and it seems like Uncart and Zach are both aware. But QLF isn't going for it. He's taking his time. He knows he doesn't need to engage, and these attackers are going to soon be forced to execute right into the site players. The calls come out, the drop comes through. Zach will go down immediately, leaving just Uncert, trying to bait a drop, covering the sound with a breaching charge. Working around towards bottom metal, but not finding any attackers. Prone on the ground is Atox. He'll clean it right up. And not what you're hoping for if you're the attack.
Not really, no. And I didn't like the chemistry in the end. LDL Valour, I don't know if they need to put on the reading glasses, but the script is clearly not going according to them. And at the very end, we can spot out that the final 2 players were really not working out together, especially this Bandit not being protected. He came out swinging, he got away with all of these mistakes being open, and of course, players did go into a lot of 1v1s, which allowed Uncert here to did pick up a double or even triple in the end, but that's about as far as we got with it, right? I really did not like how the Ace and Dokkaebi played off of each other. The Dokkaebi randomly dropped the hatch, completely open to anyone to claim, and the Ace followed shortly after to be stuck in a 1v3 position. Just not ideal.
I think it's just desperation on the side of LDL Valour. They're not sure where to go, and to their credit, it isn't obvious. You've dropped numbers, you're in a man disadvantage, both your players are on low health, and you don't have any real map control or info on the remaining defenders. You know where one player's positioned, the Vigil, lurking towards Catwalk, but he's not flanking, and you can hold for 20, 30, 40 seconds. He's not going to move because he knows he doesn't need to until the execute comes through. So some excellent play here from Ghost Army. I'm really liking what they're employing inside of Border so far.
5 seconds to insert.
Really liking. We can definitely give credit where it's due, as Ghost Army are pulling the shrinks correctly. LDL Valour, on the other hand, acting as the puppet. Not the best situation you want to be stuck in, but it's only 2 rounds. It takes about 3 or 4 to really get warmed up to the enemy team, I would so say it, and adapt to what they're bringing to the table. But in this situation, we're slowly starting to approach that, and while Ghost Army, they need to adapt to nothing, LDL Valour are going to be on a different receiving end. Taking a look, we are having some switches. I like the Sense addition, and honestly, Hyber, I really have been loving the new bring-up of Sense as an operator in comp.
It's so much fun. I was playing a game of Ranked on Border just a couple of nights ago, and I'm telling you, Puffo, I was running that Sense in every round. They're so powerful at being able to cut off lines of sight, and you can toss them because Border is so small. From outside the map, Yoshiro picking up a headshot onto the passport players. Things get started early, and talking to the Sense will be shut down. Puffo Bob, we will not get to see it this round.
Oh, tear down my eye. I was really getting happy. Yes, maybe some action from this operator that has been really dealt a bad hand at the very early part of his release, but now he's already gone. And LDL Valour, history's repeating itself for the 3rd time in a row. 2 opening against you. Ghost Army on the top of the pivot, and right now still 5 players looking strong. They have possession of ground, and in the meanwhile, Dokkaebi call is coming out. They're still peeking with all comfort. 1 from behind. This is Crossfire. 2 players going in a 2v2, and the attackers need to find some sort of value, because if they don't, it's going to be trouble. Atox on the down. Mozzie going to be pinched, and between the sandwich of LD Valour, 2 players finally gets back, but I don't think that's going to be standing much longer here for Senzo.
A little bit of a fight coming through, but the players stay alive. There is one person who goes down, and Zach actually will manage to make things just a little bit closer. Hitting the headshot onto Senzo, I believe just crouch walking up that office hallway. Oh, re-engages with the bandit. Almost manages to clip ahead, but won't hit a bullet. We do see a little bit of a reset as things calm down.
Nicely cooled. Pop a chill pill. It pops some kills in the meanwhile. HCRV does deliver a couple of bullets on Yasuke, who does escape just by the bare skin of his teeth. An extra bullet or 2 could have dealt the final blow. Although an A for effort here for Ghost Army. And they have 3 to put up. Verticality still in their hands, and that's going to be the deadliest asset LDL Valour he'll have to play against.
Notably, very few people here inside of sight. We will see Yoshiro manage to catch a headshot. He's the one playing close, the only one there. And Yoshiro, out of nowhere, picking up all 3. Headshot after headshot. Somebody stop this dude.
What? I thought it was cold outside. This man's bringing so much heat, might as well turn off the radiator. My goodness, Yasuke. Or Yoshiro, rather. Both of them have a very similar way of pronunciation, but you cannot discredit the right player here, because Yoshiro definitely went off the charts. We saw in the final few moments, seconds were left, but 1 kill drop, the 2nd follows, 3rd to the chain, and you can call this man a beast, because that wallbang was definitely out of bound. As of course, Ghost Army, 3rd round in a row. Hi Bear, this is looking dangerous for LDL.
I'm just beside myself. 3 headshots in a row. The first one, you know, normal shot. It's just a gunfight. But the other 2 are both wall bangs, and it's perfect out of Yoshiro. I mean, making matters even more impressive, he's counter-spraying against an IQ who's running a suppressor. He doesn't even have tracers to use. I'm sure he got a call from his teammate that there is a player over there, based on the fact that IQ was spotted on the cameras. But regardless, absolutely insane play out of Yoshiro. And, ah, my god, Puffo, my mind is blown, and Mike, we're here for some good siege.
3 rounds in and we're already impressed. Now, does that not give you viewers the reason to share this on with your buds and get you onto this watch party? Ghost Army looking strong. LDL need to follow up, and a lot of these rounds I've been catching a bit of a tradition. It seems like it's religious for Valour here that they are always in the shadow of Ghost Army. They lose 3 players, they return them. Well, the final 2 are lost. They look to return those 2, but in the end just can't catch up in time. And well, although the race at times does get ran already, Ghost Army, again, no need of change. They're playing this accordingly, and LDL, if they don't have one, map 1 is going to be quickly over.
Valour have made some adaptations in this round, bringing along some different operators to try and do a better job of dealing with this CCTV defense. Notably, the Flores, being brought by Mandaraya. But we already see a couple of Flores drones used, a couple destroyed, and only 1 remaining. There's still a 90 shield, for example. There's still Kiba barriers in pocket, and with that last Flores drone being shot... Oh, never mind, my apologies. I think that the the number was a little too small on my screen. 1 more Flores drone remaining, but still lots of util for him to get rid of, but things do get a bit better as Zachariah is able to find one, HCR another, and oh my goodness, if you can't use your utility to get rid of that CC extension, might as well use your guns.
In exchange for utility and make sure that Ghost Army have no players remaining, Yoshiro taking final, his life on the line to clutch it out, and a flawless, just a bit of extra credit to the side of LDL as they come in swinging strong. They've been on the receiving end, but now Ghost Army has a taste of their own medicine, and a 3-1, it's looking a bit better. A 4-2 would be still quite promising, but if we can even things out here, LDL, we're looking at a possible, very possible overtime.
Honestly, you know what? Fair play, LDL Valour. On me for wanting to explain what's going on with the utility game inside of that round. They let the guns sing, and sometimes that's all it takes. Border isn't the most complicated map in Siege. And there are rounds where you can simply walk inside. And if you're winning fights, you're winning fights. Valour showing us how to win a round.
Showing us how to do it at the best. And LDL Valour, whatever script you flipped, whatever pan was turned around, it's doing you God's work, and hopefully that's going to be the saving grace for an extra 2, because Ghost Army still have the chance of having a best of 5-1 in the first half, and that's some sort of danger you really want to be keen on not allowing to happen in the first place, as again, pressure means a lot in competition in general. The first one to break under it is, of course, the first one to lose. It's as simple as that, but as of course, these are strong teams, and we're not expecting that of them just yet, as we head into the action phase of round number 5.
Switching off the Flores this time, not feeling like it's going to be needed, and you know what? Fair play. It seems like they've done a really good job droning out this defensive setup, figuring out what operators there are on side. No Azami, notably. Only one piece of bulletproof utility, that being the BP, brought along by Yoshiro. Flores isn't useful, and that really speaks to how good the drone game inside of the prep phase was out of LDL Valour. They're like, we don't need this operator, let's bring along something else, something more useful, something that will find impact elsewhere.
Just maybe. And well, womp to QLF here, as those Goyos have been popped quite early on, a lot earlier than expected. More getting spotted out as time goes on, and well, at some point they might as well get used. HCRV making his way towards the side of 90 and just nicely snooping by, no one catching a lack of him. Spots coming out, he's shooting absolute air, fighting Ghost, and well, Ghost Army are definitely still looking to put a fight back.
After that last round, Valour is looking a heck of a lot more confident. Look at this pace, Puffo. They've already taken CCTV, they're inside of office, they're walking up on this defensive setup. They're ready to start picking this thing apart, opting instead of going for armory side to go for office. And so far, it really seems like it's working.
Yes, it does. Early damage, first blood here for the side of LDL. They're the ones to drop a corpse, but there are still a couple of dead men walking, and soon it won't just be them walking, it will be laying on the ground here. Shots out, nicely catching those bullets, but throwing them back nonetheless. Ghost Army, you have lost a player, and soon more are to follow if you don't fight back against it. The C4 ready to be chucked. Will it be a 3-pointer? Oh, certainly not, but extra damage onto Unsert. He does get away just in due time.
Yoshiro, I don't know how he managed to get out of half wall. Seemingly a miss out of Valour. There was a player trapped up there, and I thought they had pings on that Legion, but seemingly not, as Yoshiro times it perfectly, manages to find a gap as the attack resets, and sprinting away, dropping a hatch, ready to fight another day. Yasuke picking one up for himself, equalizing the numbers. With just 50 seconds left in the round, they're going to need to start moving a little bit quicker.
Carrier here using the force to take out Adox, as it will be delivered to a 4-3. This is a deficit, but no longer established, as Senzo has to say about it. 3 on each. LDL need to push down, and Yoshiro's already waiting for them to nicely come into his loving arms as he can hug them down. That's a down. T5 having value, but you throw your goo mine at the wrong time, and Zakaria catches you off guard. Although Yasuke, always a pat on the back from him. Ghost Army still strong. 20 seconds. Only need to hold out the diffuser. Dokubi needs to find 1v1 initiations. Aggression all around the board. You can wallbang it. There's the shotgun. Comes around, but matters not up close. That's where the 12 gauge wins. Senzo on the battlefield manages to come out on top, and the 4th round secured for Ghost Army.
Excellent play at the end of that round, understanding the win condition. You've got numbers, you've got a Solus, you know where that plant's gonna go down. So, all Senzo does is backs off, uses the scanner once he hears the plant, and then walks in for the retake, pumps a shot through the wall, does a ton of damage, and is able to pick up that last player. Zach not able to plant, knowing that that situation is just impossible, and Ghost Army with another excellent defensive setup.
Excellent indeed. This is going to be the last one of the first half in LDL. You need to make it count. I said Ghost Army's best situation earlier, once you won that one flawless, was definitely a 5-1. But let's not make it happen. Let's not allow it to be such a short-term game. Again, LDL, that one round was fantastic. You punished Ghost Army in each single step they took, and it was a step in the wrong direction, clearly. But you've been the only ones committing that treason as of now, and the score certainly shows it. Even this previous round, you definitely got it closed down to a 2v2, but some drops, some fights, quite unnecessary, and hopefully we get to see adaptation soon.
I'm a little shocked at how that round ended up turning out. It felt for quite a while that Valour had a substantial advantage in the fights. I mean, think about how fast they took space. They had CC, they had Office, they had pretty much half the map within the first minute, and things just continued to go well for them. They found the entry, they took away so much space, they had a player stuck upstairs. So really a blunder out of LDL, losing that round from such a dominant position, and they're going to need this one if they want to have a chance inside of this game.
They want a chance. This is their time to prove it. LDL, that was going to be the final chance on attack. Like we said it, these are the countdowns that we're looking for. You are wasting a bit of time trying to initialize this one player on CC door, although finding no success, as QLF are definitely finding a lot of time just fighting it off, nicely waiting, being patient, Goose on deck. Hopefully you don't throw them and being peeked yet again, as that was timing that was definitely not uncertain. A run out of here from Yasuke! He comes out swinging heavy, and so does HCRV. Senzo will be the victim of his gun. Now as we chain down these unfortunate events, Haddock still keeps up the fight. Ghost Army are not letting go of the steam, and LDL are being steamrolled.
Yeah, they just cannot get inside this map. They keep trying, but Ghost Army just keeps saying, no, stay out. This is our building right here. So far, just a massive disadvantage. The fights come through, the util use, but they aren't able to find a thing. LDL Valour seemingly locked out of this round, and even worse, as QLF clips a headshot onto the Dokkaebi. Still possible. It's not over quite yet, but with the 4v2, you gotta start to wonder, will these remaining players be able to pick anything up?
Will they or will they not? Those are questions we need answers to. In LDL right now, you're looking for more than just answers. You're looking for kills not to be killed. Oh, 6 foot under another one of your players. It's such a common courtesy that Ghost Army are always the ones having you be on the ghosting side. One player left, a 4v1. Practically unprecedented, and at the same time improbable, not impossible, but QLF puts it that way as defenders win the final one of the first half, the 5th one for them. Ghost Army looking extremely dominant, and LDL, what's going to be the reply going into the second half?
Nice little 360 at the end of it for style points. Ghost Army looking confident in these fights. They just keep peeking, they just keep winning. LDL Valour, they had one round which was dominant, but it really just came down to Ghost Army kind of overplaying their hand, peaking maybe a bit more than they needed to, and since then, they've just been dominant. Lockout after lockout, Ghost Army look great.
Absolute chef's kick. Kick? Kiss.
Kick.
Replace some of those letters, okay? But we'll stick with kick. You know what? We'll go with it. It has a nice groove to it. And what we talk about groove...
Buffo Bob.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure we actually stream on Twitch.
Yes.
Not
my God, I can't believe you. Cancel this man. Cut his payment. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? I have to give it to you. Iber, that was good. You know what? Hands down.
I'll wear my badge with pride. Thank you very much.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. All right. Let's get back to round 7 here. A bit of jokes every now and then never hurt. And what's a joke is the scoreline. Ghost Army 5-1. That is dominant. That is absolutely dominant. LDL, and why I'm saying this is not necessarily to hate, it's because we know they have the potential to bring it out. So maybe map 1 just isn't for them, but the second one, Nighthaven, we're looking for better results, and there is still a possibility of a comeback. Fret not. LDL are right now on the defense, and they might have an upper hand.
Zach kind of showing what's been pretty indicative of LDL so far inside this match. Screwing things up with that keeping barrier, not quite placing it right. and just finding it unrecoverable. Has to shoot it to get rid of it, using those bullets out of the deagle, and does eventually manage to complete his setup. But down Akiba, it's just going to be a little bit easier for Ghost Army to be able to clear this out.
Holy, not the best of starts when it comes to util usage. And Ghost Army on the attack, they find themselves trouble, but that's only the beginning of an attack. The attackers normally should have a bit of an easier end game once they started clearing out not only players, but utility, although that's not happening. Lunar Wall on the clutch up, finds the opening here. Quite an uncommon situation we've seen, but I guess defense really fits both of these teams quite heavily.
Excellent work out of Lunar, but even better work out of Senzo, engaging with the Izami all by himself, tossing out the grenade, forcing her to stand up and move, or simply be blown up, and then hops on the angle with the DMR, easily shutting it down and finding a trade back, equalizing for his team.
Oh, but Ghost Army don't stop just there. Adox, he puts an extra one, and we have a player leaving. Maybe disconnect, maybe not. Unfortunate, or may it be. As of current, Ghost Army have definitely given off quite a fighting spirit. LDL, you have 3 of the defenders. You're still holding CC, which is a huge extension over towards this top horizontal when it comes down to Porter alone. But Ghost Army, 4 on the line, a lot of time to go with, and a pinch they're offering up. As this player, this poor Frost, is about to be handed quite a heavy blow.
Valour so far in this round, down but not out. Still swinging, still engaging. Lunar creeping forward, looking for a fight, but Adox doesn't want to give him one. We will see the Pokeball come out, but Adox wasting time, refusing to engage and waiting until his teammate gets into a position to support. Excellent play out of Ghost Army, and just Mandaraya left alive. The plant started. Ghost Army in a dominant position inside of this round.
Post plant confirmed. And Senzo confirming the final kill of map number 1, as Porter has been finished. A very quick fashion of ways of bringing this to a bout, as we have right now one more round. I thought that was the final one. Honestly, I will absolutely give my mistakes up. I thought that was the final because LDL were already leaving, but we are going to have a pause. We are going to be throwing it back, a couple of replays, and hopefully having these tech issues resolved. But it's 6-1. I don't want to sugarcoat it, but LDL, this is a really stressful fight, I imagine.
Yeah, not looking too good so far, and making matters worse, this is, I've just checked, LDL Valour's map pick. This is the map they chose, the one they wanted to be playing. Ghost Army are looking unstoppable. I don't want to mince words here. I want to slow this down and just clarify. Unstoppable attack, defense, no matter the situation. They just cannot be beat. And really, so far, such an impressive performance. And it's reflected in the scoreline.
It has, sadly. But LDL, map number 1. This is why best of 3s are fantastic for lifelines. If you lose this one, which high chances due to the scoreline and the track record of how these rounds have been ending up. If you don't, it's going to be one of the greatest comebacks we have yet to see. And 7-1, or will it be 6-2? LDL, you have it in your hands.
You talk about great comebacks. There's been a comeback like this that I've seen before. 6 Invitational 2024. W7M versus FaZe. Same level as this match in the upper bracket of the Swiss between Ghost Army and LDL Valour. One of these teams is on the brink of losing their map choice, and LDL Valour, they're going to need to start picking up some rounds, making some heroic plays if they want to bring this back.
If they do indeed. Heroic plays, be it non-heroic, famous or infamous, whatever gets those rounds rolling right. Ghost Army, in the meanwhile, I imagine they're sitting back, laying back, as snug as a bug. A hot cup of coffee already ready in their hand to sip very poshly. As, I mean, the scoreline is looking absolutely fantastic for them. A essential Brazil in Rocket League terms if they do end up winning this round. But that still scares them when going into Nighthaven, as LDL definitely can be having a better time, as I believe this is the pick of Ghost Army.
One thing that I want to I'm really curious about, during the setup, I saw Lunar put an Aruni gate on a door that had a Goyo canister set up on it. And I've never tried that before, but I wonder, how does that work? Does the Aruni gate pass through the Goyo canister? Does it disable the Aruni gate? Will it not activate in the first place? That's something I think I might have to go back and test. I'm so curious how that worked out.
Curiosity fills our minds. And one extra thing that gets us all curious is how this will end. Be it the final bout or another one for LDL to save. It's all dependent of these players, and seasoning up this match will be some early blood dropped onto Yasuke, as he does have to retreat for a second. Want to keep that ace in the back pocket as much as you want to, but the Rooney sadly will not be having the same fate. C4 chucked, no peek there. My mistake though. Yoshiro sticks around, finds out, and that's a big boom on the kill feed.
Yoshiro seemingly not aware of the danger that was carried by that C4. Taken down, keeping things close. Not over yet for Valour. They keep fighting back.
Keep fighting back, throwing punches left, right, and center. Right now, all things have settled down, which means once the clock has struck the right time, both these teams are going to be going off in an absolute mayhem. And while this is a certain way to start it off, Goose coming out, that's going to be Yasuke low on HP. Ghost Army, 3 players, 1 below the side of LDL, as they need to be confined themselves to 1v1 initiations, and that's the main point when going into low-deficit gunfights. Down onto 1, Zakaria finds himself in the grave, but not just him, it's Unshort following after, and you're left with 2. An unfathomable situation. Ghost Army taking all wits and advantages, and now have to play this very safely.
These 2 remaining players with Zac down on the ground have to be feeling somewhat hopeless. It starts to look even more bleak as Yasuke manages to take down 1, leaving just Mandaraya, the last alive, but he will be easily picked up from the long angle outside CC. No, apologies, a different player. We don't see it in the kill cam because of the downed player, but it will be Ghost Army taking it over the line, winning this first map, stealing LDL Valour's map pick, and gotta get worried now if you are LDL Valour. Map 2, you need to wake up.
I can imagine Ghost Army right now just rubbing their hands together like a comic villain, feeling real nice and tidy, but LDL Valour, this second map might be yours. You've seen what Ghost Army can put up, and let's see what you can offer to the table to make this bet even stronger. As Nighthaven, this should be your time to shine, and under pressure, hopefully they get molded into a beautiful diamond that shines throughout the night. And although, before we get to that, we will be taking a short break. Again, stay tuned, because it's about to get very hectic. We saw map number 1, but don't let go of LDL's hope, because it's only about to get started.
Welcome back. Here we are, ready for map 2 in the ESA Cup Season 10, this upper bracket of the Swiss to qualify for the playoffs later on this season. We do see already 1 team up a map, that being Ghost Army, stealing away LDL Valour's map pick of Border. They just need 1 more, their map pick, to put it away and punch their ticket into that playoff bracket.
Now that's going to be interesting. A lot of stakes on the line, and as we saw previously, it was Border. Map number 1, this is a best of 3 series, and the first one won out by Ghost Army in a dominant 7-1. LDL now needing to back up quite a fight going into Nighthaven Labs, which is going to be map number 2 in Hyber. I think we're very excited to see what the results of this one will be.
I can't wait, personally. I'm happy for some good siege. But I'm also happy to see some stops from time to time. I like to see things be close. It's always fun to see tight games. When there's a stop, when there's one team who's just looking that good, and really, let me be clear, it is Ghost Army looking that good. LDL Valour, they haven't looked bad this entire time. They've just been outclassed. and I'm loving watching it happen. I'm hoping to see Ghost Army like run up the scoreline here and really take this map away. I'm liking what I've seen so far.
We love what to see, and well, Nighthaven Labs, we fly in with a very interesting ban, not as unexpected as some may think, but Blitz, the first one to be taken off, a very aggressive shield, the most aggressive shield if we don't count in Blackbeard, and Nighthaven Labs, this is where shields are extremely strong for taking very good positions, and I'm expecting another shield ban going into the second one, as although this time around, again, we get to see Deimos.
Ghost Army really don't like that Deimos. That's both maps that they've been the ones to take that off the board, which is fine. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to play against it. But it's a really unique permaban, not one that I'll say I've seen before.
Absolutely, and there is a reason for that as well. Deimos is played a lot by LDL, so while it may also seem like a target ban, at the same time, like you mentioned, Hyber, Deimos is a character extremely strong on many maps, this being one of them, and going into the first operator ban on the defense will be none other than the Cade, which does not surprise me a tiny teeny bit, because Nighthaven Labs heavily relies off of Breach at times.
Yeah, counter Breach is some of the most important operators on this map. Things like your Mute, your Bandit, your Cade, as is taken off the board, are operators who can really disrupt attacking setups, make it difficult to actually get anything done. So, Ghost Army, they're just like, you know what? We don't want to deal with it. Let's get the Cade off the board. Let's simplify everything. And with that operator gone, it should be no trouble for them to get open these breaches.
No issue at all, and well, going on to the top floor, I believe Command Center and Servers will be the first site picked by the defense. LDL actually starting on defense this time around. Earlier was Ghost Army, now we switcheroo it up a bit, and you talk about it, Tuberon and Bandit are still both up for picks, although LDL, they prefer not to go for it. A simple mute will be enough to do the job, as the remaining operators will be focusing on keeping this site tight, and also making sure their gunfights are as good as possible.
A pretty classic defensive lineup for this upstairs site. Notably not bringing along the Bandit is Valour. One of those operators that I mentioned before is very powerful on labs. You have that IT breach. That is kind of the crux of this site. If the attack isn't able to open that up, there's not really anything that they can do. So lots of teams, what they try and do is run the Bandit and Bandit trick that wall. And LDL Valour, they're like, you know what? We figure that Ghost Army have a plan to be able to open this up, and they opt to just bring along the Mute, using that to slow down a breach being opened, but mostly just in terms of drone denial.
Just in terms of drone denial, it is. LDL Valour, do love to see it, sticking by the book. And in the meanwhile, Ghost Army showing no mercy as they're coming in quite hot with a lot of aggression, but the Ash main, some say no brain, I say it's Adox here coming in as fast as he possibly can be to cover as much ground, and of course take position, and comfortable ones at that, setting up also his teammates for easier entry.
The entry coming through quick, Adox feeling confident, Yasuke doing his job as the hard breacher and getting open that crucial IT breach. Really great start to the setup here for Ghost Army, and while they do run into a couple of mute jammers, which will slow down their droning, it's not something they're too concerned about because of how fast they moved in the first phase of their attack.
How fast they were before and how fast they are now certainly doesn't change. Ash charged to the mirror, to the face, and trying to take out. Especially Ash has been proving quite useful when teams like to bring around this black window of this mirror of certain death. You peek at it, you see yourself, but the next second you see yourself dead. It's definitely a lot of choices to take in, and LDL Valour right now still sticking by quite nice. No dropped kills, which is definitely a difference from the previous map, but we do have to consider that that was Border and this is Nighthaven.
Some bees coming through to try and reveal the player inside of Electrical here, but notably, this dog standing on top of a mute jammer will not be pinged, but it doesn't matter. Adox too good, using that R4C, picking up a kill for himself, but Zach responding with 2 in kind.
Ooh, an elimination going into the favor of Lunar Wall, spicing things up for an extra bit will be none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Zakaria, as a CRV taken off the board, but the final phone will be picked up. Zakaria picks up the call. He says, I've got the job. 007, Agent on the line, and Ghost Army here will not be having the easiest of jobs going up against LDL on defense.
4 rounds in a row seems to be all Ghost Army can manage. Shut down again, not managed to pick up that 5th round. between these two maps. Ghost Army down for the first time inside of this series, and a really nice, strong defense in round 1 out of Valour.
Very strong one indeed. And like we said, maybe border earlier was not the best, and we are not going to be looking into the past right now. The present matters at most. LDL starting off as strong, showing a very similar performance to how Ghost Army initiated us off. And of course, that kickoff was not only great, but also dominant. And well, that's the best definition to put what LDL right now are packing. Free delivery as well as all of Ghost Army. Let's see how quickly they catch up to the act.
Interesting setup being brought along to the second bomb site. This basement site really has a lot of vert above it, which can be opened up by the attack. So what teams tend to do is play a pretty heavy roam extension.
5 seconds.
Leaning into that are operators like Mozzie, the... Oh my goodness, the Scopos. I forgot her name for a moment. The Scopos and the Legion to gather info on where the attack is coming from and then just get out of dodge once that attack comes through. We'll see if Ghost Army have any answers for it. They have brought along a couple of roam clear ops in order to assist, but Lunar will shut one of them down essentially immediately before the round has any real chance of beginning.
What they tend to say is that Roamer's main primary job here is going to be the fact that you waste time. While that is already being done, Lunar, he gets himself extra seasoning in with a kill, as that Dokkaebi is absolutely fantastic to pick up. Although Ghost Army, they still have a couple to track down. And without that, Deimos is definitely going to be a harder job. Those are going to be Pokeballs looking to catch Yoshiro in them. And although they certainly do deal a bit, it will still leave the Solus, or rather the Scopos, on the top ground, maybe retreating back to the former drum.
Seemingly a soul read out of Lunar, catching a player on the roof within the first 20 seconds of the round. Not a spawn peek that I've seen before. And he will keep his life. Oh no, pardon, not spotted. A Mozzie drone being used to drone out the attack. Senzo, though, will answer. He'll pick up insert. And is this a plant going down inside of sites?
When did this happen? Ghost Army have sneaked their way into site itself, and they actually got away with it. The ace alone just nicely sitting by idly as everyone was under pure chaos, distracted, and amidst all of the smoke and fog that were being put up by the attack on top ground, allowed Senzu to come in swooping for the defense. Goyo canister popped, and hopefully the rest of these attackers are going to be coming in, but I don't think that's going to be necessary. Senzu's doing up quite a nice of a cleanup job, coming in for late round. Grimbees are going to be there, allowing you to get all information, and that's one for QLF, still putting up a very confrontation of a gunfight. QLF on top, one left against the other, and I mean the final few seconds you have to defuse at this point. Too little time remains, your footsies are revealed, a pedicure for Ghost Army, and the final here as they do return one of these attacking rounds.
Gap hit the ace, unafraid to simply crouch walk into sight and get that case down. Things get a little heated as there was a moment in there where it seemed like the defense was ready to retake before the attack had repositioned to hold that case. But the defense's Goyo canisters actually coming in and working in the favor of the attack because the Goyo canister denies people being in that corner. Intended to be used to stop a plant going down, but since it wasn't popped before the plant, the attack can actually pop it and deny the defuse. Excellently played by this attacking lineup out of Ghost Army, playing their win condition, understand, and guys, there's a bomb site you need to defend, and there's 4 of you up on the top floor.
That is Ghost Army at their finest, exposing the mistakes and holes left behind by LDL's roam. And although, like again, they were way too compromised by the top ground clear, trying to assert dominance on the 3rd floor, well, in the meanwhile, little do you know, there's already an ace planting it down and just making sure that you have no way of coming back. Also, in a perfect position to pop those Goyos, not allowing anyone to peek him from that door, only needing to hold the double window, which allowed him to not only get a kill, but at the same time delay any defuses, any baits and switches, and Ghost Army had more than enough time to nicely recoup and take the round.
And notably, that was a round that was seemingly really falling in Valor's favor. I'd already kind of written it off. Ghost Army, they were stalling out in their roam clear, making no progress, unable to take out these attackers, or apologies, unable to take out the roamers, and then suddenly everything flips on its head. This round, they're going to try this roam clear again. Haven't lost bodies in the first 20 seconds, so already an improvement. Let's see how they manage the rest of this round.
Let's see how they manage to come up with this damage for LDL Valour, and we speak of it. That's going to be a lot for Lunar Wall. We'll need to retreat to the other drone. Again, you really want to play this Scopo safely. Get back as soon as you can. Recover on that HP. Doc Stims won't work, so this time around you do get away with your life just once, but maybe that's not going to be happening for a second time.
And while Lunar does escape, it's still quite a quick roam clear out of Ghost Army. He's back on site now. I mean, he's going to make his way back up to the first floor. He's inside of lounge now. Apologies. But the second floor is clear. There's no one left up here, and Ghost Army can start working verts and moving in toward that first floor.
Moving in towards that first floor, it has already taken a bit of a toll on the time limit, and Ghost Army will start needing to feel that pressure, otherwise they will start losing the count of time. And we still do have a couple of players here sitting around, just making sure, checking this first round, and making sure that verticality isn't as easily obtained as Ghost Army hope it to be, although there will be some engagements coming out real soon. Ghost Army are waiting for it. LDL even more. So they're sitting idly by on stairs, waiting for the aggression to come to them. Going drones. We do need information in gunfights. That is the major asset. Pushing down this Legion. He can't get away. Yoshiro has to say about it as he puts him down.
One pick found, and that's really important here for Ghost Army. The timer is getting low. We're beyond the 1 minute mark. And there's still Goyo canisters on site that they're going to need to deal with. The C4 comes out, no damage found, surviving, but watch out. Here's a flank coming through. Mandaraya seemingly tracking these players through the walls, checking angles, looking to see if there's anyone he can find. Though he hasn't found anyone yet, he's in a position they don't expect. Finding a pick on Adox, he does. The roam, the clear, the lurk, managing to pick up not just one, but two, but Senzo's hitting sight. They're down through Animus. They're ready to fight here, and with just one player up on the top floor, Mandaraya could continue to backstab, continue to cause problems as we get into this execute.
If this Mossy isn't going to be cleared, Ghost Army are going to be having much more than just trouble. This is a presence that needs to be given out, and LDL are holding on to it quite nicely. The Grasp still holding on firmly, although Senzo needs to go for a plant, going similar situation. One up top, trying to be hunted down. Little does he know, QLF is on the hunt. Jackal doing his job. Last one puts up a decent effort, but not decent enough to wipe whatever remains. As Ghost Army, they win the second one, bring back the lead, and dethrone LDL of their lead.
That might be the best piece of team play I've seen in every week so far in ESA Season 10. Unbelievable situation. Let me just walk you guys through what just happened, because it's complicated and it was really easy to miss. Mandaraya is sitting above the Animus hatch. Ghost Army cannot plant because Mandaraya has the hatch control, and if the plant starts coming through, then he can simply take out the planter, drop down that hatch, or like reposition, take them out. Doesn't really matter. Lots of options for him. So, what Ghost Army do is they calm for their teammate, the one who's still upstairs, to sit and wait and bait the hatch thing. Bait that player to come towards the hatch, and when he's peeking the hatch, you just peek up, you take him out. So that goes great. They find the first kill, but the timer is still so low. So Ghost Army, they continue their team play, they continue to work together, and instead of planting, despite being sub 10 seconds on the clock, both players who are down on site with the diffuser choose to engage with the defense, using their guns instead of playing the objective, because with so little time, they don't have the numbers to cover. They pick up the first kill and continue not to plant, pushing forward instead in order to play refrag on the last player, knowing that that person wants to be close to where plant is threatening to go down, such that he can deny it. Excellent work out of Ghost Army. That was genuinely some of the most beautiful siege I've ever seen.
A symphony, we call it, mesmerizing for us all, and our eyes feel blessed, as though Ghost Army, they're feeling more than blessed. I feel like they're at the peak of their confidence yet again, knowing that they have picked it up on attack. LDL will need to start backing up these fights more and more. Round number 1 was great. Let's have more of it as we continue into round 4 with 2:20 on the clock.
And Valour are keeping it close, right? These have been some pretty good rounds. Their defenses have been solid. But 2 times Ghost Army have just managed to do that little bit extra to drag it over the line, be it sneaking inside of sight and getting a plant down when it's unexpected, or just perfectly played low time, disadvantaged situations. They are looking so hot right now, Puffa Bob. I truly cannot believe my eyes.
Steaming hot. Who left the oven on? Ghost Army here could be cooking for just a second. LDL, though, they're definitely having a bit of a plan up their lead, too. Nicely holding these angles, playing a bit aggressively. Some may say that these are common spots they're holding. Could be peaked and punished, although this Goyo, Zakaria, has been quite on a lead many times. 5 kills. Can he get the 6? Sadly not. Yoshiro with the opening, and that's a can opened. Beans to be spilled. Ghost Army there on the lead.
Ghost Army really doing an excellent job making sure every single box is checked. You saw a drone go in, which revealed the position of the Goyo inside of IT. That's an easy step to miss. That lurk often comes through and catches players off guard. But Ghost Army, not to be tricked, and they toss the EMP in, go get that mirror window. Things just continue to fall apart here for Valour.
Oh, yes, they do. They're crumbling like a cookie, some may say. But is it a gingerbread cookie? Is it a chocolate chip cookie? It's Adox's cookie, because he's eating them all down. Ghost Army again with a 3v5, favoring them. This pivot looking like the scale heavily, nicely residing in their favor. And as of current right now, Ghost Army looking to make a push. The Blackbeard here not being banned will be a huge mistake on the kill feed here for LDL, as they still have to face quite a lot of foes heading right in their direction.
Excellent use of that Blackbeard shield to make a run through, and Senzo, speaking of running through, he's going to make a run for it. The plant started, some damage done onto Lunar, exchange of bullets, but they need to plant in the cover. Actually, the Blackbeard standing directly in front of the planter, literally covering him, using that shield like an umbrella for bullets, blocking every single shot sent his way. The 4v2 in the post plant, low HP in a couple of players, but it's looking so hard for Valour to retake.
Oh, this is going to be a difficult situation. We've come across an HCRV, the last one, not exposing due to going outside the building, but missing a magazine! Both for the Ash, the pistol, faster than to reload, but matters not. Adox, thankfully, the one to shut down this chaos and this unholiness we get to witness as Siege at its finest. Ghost Army, 3-1, securing a draw in the first half. This is not looking good for LDL.
These players are so consistently good at hitting their shots that honestly I sometimes forget that they're on the sticks. Until we run into a little bit of a situation with like that, where the crosshair placement is a bit messed up because of an unexpected fight, and both players cannot make the correction. A little bit of an awkward fight in towards the end of that round. But the thing we gotta talk about, Puffo, is that execute out of Ghost Army. They couldn't get to a safe spot to plant, so they created a safe spot for plant to go down. Senzo using the Blackbeard shield in a way I've not seen before, covering a planter, not with his gun, but with the shield. What a unique use case, what a unique way to play. Ghost Army have all the ideas, and so far, Valour just haven't been able to come up with any answers.
Oh, Nanos on production slowing down those missed shots really hit a deep part of my heart. That was an ache for me, and well, LDL. This is an unfortunate situation, but as of current, you're not really showing us what punches you can deliver. And well, 3-1. That's the current score we're handled. And on a map such as Nighthaven, on the attacking side, it is very, very brutal. Coming over to this defense, Ghost Army earlier were proving to be very aggressive on very specific parts. Also coming out of each nook and cranny, the singular spots that you just don't expect a player to be in. As LDL, not much of a response, and they're starting to slowly lose their wards that they're right now stumbling over. Because, I mean, 1 round and 3 lost in a row is just not the best of lucks.
It looked for a second at the start of this map that Valour might have woken up a little bit. I mean, we didn't really see much out of them in map 1. Obviously, that ending in a 7-1, and while they did win the first round of Nighthaven Labs, it's actually starting to look like it might be headed in the same direction. Valour haven't been able to get inside of this game so far, and they need to wake up. Otherwise, they will not be punching their ticket today.
No punching the ticket. Oh, it's a sad truth, but this is a 2-0. Both these teams have definitely gotten themselves a fantastic score, so there are definitely second chances, and both these teams will have it, but as of current, Ghost Army are looking to finish this out as quickly as possible. Earlier, 7-1, 7-2 in regulation. Looking to follow that up yet again is definitely quite brutal, or was it even the 7-1? I'm not even sure. Time has passed by so quickly, and these players are about to be passing any second, as I'm already feeling the tension between these two teams.
Notably, there has been a lot of time that's passed inside of this round. We're past the 90-second mark. And the attack really is just starting getting inside the building. I mean, check out the positions at the bottom of the screen. QLF is the only one inside. Mandaraya tosses out a C4, trying to see if he can pick somebody up outside of the building, give his team the advantage as he feels the pressure starting to mount, but unfortunately sticking it to the top of that windowsill. But he's still here, playing the SMG in the close corner electrical, and the bees that Ghost Army have brought along will not be able to make him move. He's stood on top of a mute jammer. His position will not be pinged.
Here comes jumping in. There's the Blackbeard coming out to be that real big trump card that Ghost Army have now been pulling out for the past 2 or 3 rounds. Grim B is going to be huge, and this operator is absolutely fantastic at not only spreading fear when it comes to the execution, but in the meanwhile, an extra pinch-in when it comes down to vast game as well. Down onto 1 nade for finish. Absolute spice for Senzo. And we talk about spice, it's starting to heat up as the Goyo canisters have been unleashed. 20 seconds here, and Ghost Army will need to make a move, but they've definitely had a very good opening, and QNF will have to be initiated from rafters. Goyo looking to peek it out, even approaching the situation at hand. The R4C expects you. That's in the bullseye. QLF wins that, but not the second. He's not good enough for 2. Yakusuke surely, though, is. Yoshiro as well. 1 remaining. You do need to get the defuse down, and it's not in your hands. The shotgun up close runs away, and a sneaky man with sneaky ambitions as LDL stay in for 1 extra.
So close for Ghost Army. It looked impossible for it looked impossible for them. I thought for a second it was going to be a lockout. Once the Goyo canister popped on that door from electrical, I just didn't think there was any way that they could get into sight. But the guns come alive, QLF opening things up, walking in through rafters, taking everyone down. But at the end of the day, you still gotta play it. And oh my goodness, Unsert, I believe, dropping that case over towards top blue. There is nothing that Ghost Army can do.
Well, Ghost Army, that's just very, very unexpected of you. Sending your diffuser alone on the backside of blue to be meted and greeted with many players to take him out. Of course, that's going to be the priority kill for the side of LDL. They know if he has the diffuser or not. And in the end, it ended up being a clutch, as if Ghost Army had it on deck at that necessary, that existential point. Get the blind down, 1 covers, and there's not much of a fight that LDL can put up. But it happened. It's a mistake. And right now, we can still even it out for LDL.
Already a better performance than they put up map 1. It's not a very high bar to clear, but you gotta start somewhere. LDL looking to try and get a tie half here before Ghost Army heads into the defense. The favored side on Nighthaven Labs, and likely their favored side, as they're the ones who picked this map. Basement will be the final round played in this half. So far has not been won a single time by Valour. They've only managed to take upstairs. Though, the rounds they've gone here have been remarkably close. I actually think more deserved than the upstairs rounds which they've won.
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, Ghost Army and LDL backing it off into the final one of the first half. We do see the lineup quite similar here for the defenders, still rocking that Goyo. That has been a religious pick for LDL, while Ghost Army not bringing the Blackbeard along this time, as they'd rather focus on Yoshiro's Ram, multitasking at its finest with the Boogie Drone, and the last one being hunted down. You definitely don't want to lose that operator, and Yoshiro, he's the best one to put down on that R4C as he opens us up quite nicely.
Cutting down Mandaraya early. The Roam not finding the value until Lunar's gun comes alive. Still persisting and finding 2. Great start for him, answering the call that Ghost Army had sent through. Taking out that Dokkaebi, and suddenly disadvantage. But battled back. QLF on the window, on the cutoff. 2 for him. Headshot on the second. Just 1 bullet to take out the first. And suddenly the round flips once more.
Once more it does. And as of current, Ghost Army, you've had the dealing hand. You've been dealt it too, and LDL both have been exchanging. This has been the table flipping over and over, and we just can't decide if we want it north or south. But as of current, 2 players, 3 on the attack, 2 to face off on defense. Tracking out is going to be huge. This is where the Deimos and Jackal both really have power positions, as when you have a refract potential, you can start hunting them down and going for these kills, dropping sight level. And as of current, this Ace trying to take a solo initiation, which isn't the best, but coming out from behind, no clue on HCRV, as the final one chucks a C4 in all hopes, but Senzo for the shutdown comes out with a backstab, and Ghost Army 2 above LDL score with a 4-2, and now heading over to defense.
Senzo so good in that round, making his way down the stairs, cutting into a position which LDL just don't expect. Like, and to be honest, can you blame them? There's the Ace sending it down all by himself with the case in hand. If he's not able to find those fights, that can get dangerous. The other thing I want to point out, oh my goodness, this cutoff being played by QLF, the round-defining play right here, taking out Lunar as he falls away, and not only that, but being ready for the second fight. Ghost Army got the players, man, and they just consistently manage to find impact inside these rounds.
They have. Even when dealt quite a fatal blow, they definitely felt good old Lunar Wall going off and feeling that aggression, the gun leading his path to victory, and that double kill was absolutely huge. If he would have stuck around for an extra bit, who knows, maybe he could have delved into a lot larger of a spread and a cause that could have boosted LDL's only confidence that they had remaining. Now, going on to this attack, hopefully we get to see change. Ghost Army, I am seeing again from both these teams, they really don't want to go with the 2-round bandit. Rather, if there's no Cade, might as well go for very positive gunfights.
No Tobaral, no Bandit, but some powerful operators nonetheless. The Mira and Azami, keep an eye out on those two. Those are probably going to be the defining factor inside of this round, but also that Fenrir can be very problematic for attackers, especially if they're unable to clear them out until that late round. HCR is going to be the one to try and answer that call, using those Bravicams to clear those out, hack those Fenrir traps, see if he can make it so that they're not something that'll be run into as the execute comes through. But with the mute on side, it might not necessarily be easy to find a way to get rid of those gadgets.
Still 5 on. He's almost there. You do want to claim that breach as long as you're alive, Ace. Right now, holding at bottom just to make sure no bandit tricks come out. The Buck securing and verifying. As of current, though, Ghost Army, they're probably planning something quite mischievous, holding down these mirrors. Their drones as well, but LDL do have the Flores and Brava to counter quite a lot that they brought along.
Low start here. Out of LDL, using the Flores drones, trying to pop a few things here and there, shooting some Legion mines, clearing some utility, using the drones to gather info on this setup. Looking like they might want to attempt a water play here in the late round, but they haven't really done much in terms of opening up IT. Insert using some of those ace charges to pop a few things open, and the Buck down below will actually manage to clear out a mirror window. Apologies, no IT already open. And Araya pushing forward, looking to take a fight, and he'll find it. Taking out the player. Suddenly, this defense looks like it's already been picked apart.
Yes, it has. And Madaria just doesn't stop. No brakes on him. QLFG and Yoshiro still dueling up. Hand in hand they go. And this is beautiful performance. But when the final 2 strike, LDL with the gong. And well, there it is. Back into the game. The attack looking nice. Ghost Army feeling the pressure. And round 8 about to show some differences in LDL's performance.
One round now is all that separates these two teams. It's getting close. Valour seeming to have woken up, and Mandaraya specifically sending it in through IT through a breach I hadn't even seen opened, and picking up not 1, not 2, but 3 for himself.
3 is absolutely crazy. God's works finest. Sent down a soldier, a Spartan, and there we go. Cleared them all off. LDL, a switch of mood pays. They've had enough of what has been going on, and they want to catch up. But not only that, probably I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond to these next few. That's one. We've seen them definitely win a round or two by very good conditions. And with it, I mean they've set up those conditions themselves and work off of them very nicely to the point of where they secure these rounds and dominant ones we've seen. But it's consistency that they've lacked, and hopefully that does change as we go on.
Yeah, I mean, you say the consistency has been lacked. It's felt to me more like it's just been a little bit of a couple micro things throughout these rounds. Ghost Army, I mean, they've been dominant in terms of the scoreline, but the scoreboard has been a different story. It hasn't felt like there's ever a round that LDL Valor isn't finding anything in. It's not lockouts, it's not shutouts, it's just slightly better over and over again. Ghost Army, great so far. Continue to extend that as Shiro with a jump out, I believe, using that SMG-11 at long range to pick up a player. And oh my Puffo Bob, look who it is.
Oh, Unsert, no. We haven't even got to the breaching yet. The ace! That is extremely unfortunate for LDL, as Ghost Army must be wooing in their VC right now. Absolute happiness as they took out Unsert. They took out the ace, but they took out the opening as well. There is no cons to it.
It's going to be a much harder round now for Valor. They're going to give it a go anyways, give it a shot, send the Flores drone in, but look at this. Ghost Army seemingly aware of what's happened, reinforcing off rafters, telling themselves, hey, we don't need to do anything. Their hard breacher is dead. IT will not be open, and there's just a couple of doorways they're going to have to try and force themselves through.
Oh yeah, making more doors and more holes than you could ever expect. LDL here, going to be going verticals. Extra damage onto Adox. Almost spotted out, but almost won't quite cut it. No cigar here, as no opening kill here for the attackers, as the defenders have been quite cautious and nicely just sitting back in their own corners, having their crossfires and holding everything as they should, doing it as the list intends.
Some damage done by the skeleton key, but Senzo's playing Doc, so as the defense, you really don't mind. As long as you're not dropping bodies, you'll be full HP. Shotgun played by Ishiro at the top of these water stairs here. So powerful, able to pick up a player with a single pump. You will have denying drones, and it's just things continue to go from bad to worse for LDL. The shotgun comes through. Mandaraya, though, does find the trade through that open mirror window. They haven't managed to find a way in yet. And with just that tiny hole, the push is going to have to eventually come through the single door IT. It's just so hard, Puffo. I don't know what they can do.
Oh, it's definitely hard. It's rock solid here. And when push comes to shove, LDL are the ones to really throw you off the edge, as we do have HCRV, who we haven't seen much on the kill feed up until now, but he's definitely showing himself a lot more and making sure that that kill for Unsert wasn't for naught. Flash is there, no wonder Warden to counter. Senzo does get away with a blind kill, a headshot of all, and Yasuke follows too. The Vector P gun making its value more than worth it as a double to finish it all off, and Ghost Army will be keeping the 2-round deficit in their favor.
Flashbangs go out, no Warden to counter, but you don't need it if you've got Senzo on side. Clipping a headshot through the flashbang, it don't matter. Hello, goodbye. Excellent work out of him. Nice little cleanup at the end by Yasuke, and a lockout as LTL Valor aren't able to open up a single wall on that upstairs attack.
Absolutely. Ghost Army, each attempt shut it down. It was a bit too one-dimensional, and Ghost Army are looking into the third, as right now, well, it was way too one-sided. Again, we need that ace to breach. We need to take connector, IT, whatever it may be. We cannot just hope from backside alone, which has one teeny tiny rotation and a door standalone, that out through it, you'll just manage to find a miracle round. It simply does not go by, especially when the enemies are Ghost Army right now, which have been performing quite nicely. And well, we're going to continue doing so as we head downstairs.
It sounded for a second there like you were rapping. Like we had some rhyme, we had some rhythm to it. Oh my gosh, Puffo.
Slim Shady of Siege.
Oh, Slim Shady? Who knows? We'll open up at the start of this round. But they will be reinforced off. The reason that Yasuke does that is to try and bait drones. See if he can, you know, make the attack think that, hey, this wall will be opened up. We don't necessarily need to bring along any EMPs with which to deal with any sort of bandits that might be on side. But really they do. Yasuke reinforcing that off, putting those bandit charges down, and notably, only the pocket EMPs brought along by Zachariah can be used to get rid of them.
That's going to be the only one you really want to keep in mind this time. And of course, every single operator that has still some usability, LDL, make sure they're safe and sound. because the second you lose grasp over them, it's going to be chaos. You need to switch quickly, and that's when strategy starts to fall apart, maybe become a bit too spread for the liking of your team. Coming out, though, the Ash here, taking out the drone of Mozzie, will be denying a bit of limitation on how much information you can gather. The attackers have nicely set themselves onto ground zero, looking to fight horizontal. An initiation ready as you spot the elbow. You shoot him on sight, and that's here going to be the first one. Malusi taken out on sight. Addox even being punished from upstairs. And LDL here putting up a very decent performance.
Addox in a bit of a tough spot here. Gonna have some trouble getting away. Takes another bullet's worth of damage with 1 HP, but Senzo will be the one to find a kill. Managing to get a headshot onto Lunar through the wall, I believe. And Senzo with the second.
Oh.
Yasuke answering a third. Everything falling apart. It looked so good for Valour. But now with only 2 bodies left alive, things are gonna be rough for them getting into this final minute.
Oh, Ghost Army! All they need to do is peek, and that's where wonders are made. It's not a natural roll of 20, no luck incorporated. It's just the fact that LDL have definitely not really caught on to the sense of their own surroundings when it comes to Ghost Army completely pushing up. And again, it's the lack of information. You don't know if someone's going to peek you from these stairs. You have absolutely no idea. The Dokkaebi could be right now in huge amounts of danger, but there would be absolutely nothing to go off for it. And Ghost Army, on the other hand, they've been right now really confident. This is what the defense is about. You can be anywhere at any time, and a swing can always go your way.
Time getting low. The hatch drop gonna need to come through. Uncertain Zach. The only thing they've managed to really open has been that Animus hatch. That's going to be their point of ingress here. The way they approach this site, but the defense is going to know that too. And if they can't find somebody in these next 20 seconds, it's going to be oh so hard, especially looking at this player inside of Animus. That'll be Yasuke. EMP comes out.
Oh.
Zachariah does go down, but Yoshiro there for support, sprinting up to Pillar, picking up 2.
Picking up 2. 1 magazine, enough to drop the 2. Way more than enough to kill him off. And we take a look at the kill feed here, or rather the kill boards. 13 kills for Yoshiro and double digits for QLF to join him on it is absolutely phenomenal. Like, the performance from Ghost Army has been outstanding. Some players less, some players more, but they work as a team. Even if Yasuke can't really get those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kills right, he's always been the supportive. He's always the reason kills are delivered to these top fracking players. And LDL Valour, at times I feel like they are playing 1v1 games rather than as a team or hive mind.
Do you remember when we thought that this was going to be a super close game?
Don't talk about it. Don't just.
I'm telling you, man, I think I'm cursed. It just keeps happening. All I get is 2 maps. I think last week, the total rounds won by the team that was defeated was 4. Looking to replicate that this week as Ghost Army has the chance to shut this down. Match point in their favor, and they'll choose to go to storage for the finals, for their first attempt.
I don't know how they're gonna allow you into major events, Ibear. Like, look, I love you and all, but my goodness, this has been going on by so quickly. I was expecting LDL here to be absolutely going off. I've seen them, I've casted them. They're a fantastic team, but this caster curse, whatever we said, we take it back, game. Please, give us map number 3 at least. Although, Ghost Army, we really can't take away from you what is yours, as right now, again, the performance has been good, and you definitely reap of what you sow.
Grab a drone, finding a bit of value, hacking a cam, but quickly destroyed, so that camera likely also to be shut out. Things just really not going in the favor of Valour here. They do punch open some windows, look to open some stuff up. Notable, the warehouse wall has been opened, so the approach gun here in Valour, they seem to know the steps that they'll need to make this round work. But IT is next. There's some bandit charges on that wall. They're not able to open up. This is going to be very problematic for the team.
Maverick there coming in for rescue. Although the C4, LDL not like this, nicely backing off, playing it safe. The bandits are now gone. And with it, the Ace needs no more Maverick Torch to secure himself the breach, which also will be saving a fantastic amount of time. As of now, though, Ghost Army, they're feeling themselves a bit too much. I can definitely agree that they were getting into the groove of things, but don't get greedy.
Do you see the way QLF is peeking this window?
Yeah.
He knows there's a player there. There's a pre-fire going off, and he's like, you know what? I'm taking this fight anyways. such
my
confidence out of Ghost Army, continuing to be exemplified as Yoshiro picks up one, Senzo another, Soulless Shotgun being put to work, and oh, heartbreak LDL. What is happening now? You need to find yourself some kills.
Oh, HCRV taking extra blood. That's going to be his HP dropped to 1/3. And Unsurd the only one to pat him on the back. Here comes QLF as he gets away with it, constantly peeking out. LDL have already given up, or maybe it was a technical, maybe not, matters not. AK-12 delivers. There is still a chance that some of these players are very low on HP. As soon as you find two of them, LDL, you can still come back from it, but 50 seconds, you do have the diffuser. There's a lot going on right now, and I can imagine the stress on this player is absolutely immense. Shots coming through. They already know about your position. People jumping down. Ghost Army, you said it. Unprecedented, and even excused confidence from them as they peek, they re-peek. They know what they're doing. They know what game they're playing, and Senzo, coup de grace for him. Ghost Army 2-0, 7-1, 7-3, and LDL sadly will be dropping out quite quickly as, well, Hi Bear, this is just not the day for you to have a 3-mapper.
Down but not out is the story
That
for
is
LTL.
true. That is
Congratulations to Ghost Army. They will be our first team qualifying to the ESL Season 10 playoff bracket. Very exciting for them, and they've got a goal now. They want to make it through those playoffs and take the champions title. ESA apologies. Commiserations to LDL. They will be continuing to play in this tournament. They're not out yet. They've got a few more chances to qualify, and they still, because of the Swiss bracket, only need one win to make it to playoffs. But heartbreak for them today. It's just not their day.
Just not their day. It will be next time around. And speaking of the next time, I believe we will have another match coming up. And in the meanwhile, also, let's take a look at these brackets. I mean, like you said it, Ghost Army now qualified. LDL will be moving to 2-1. They have 2 extra rounds they can lose before being eliminated. And, well, we can definitely sure that they are a team confident of taking maybe the next, maybe the one after. But qualification still in the hands of possibility the Rangers as well. And, as mentioned, again, fantastic match today. Both teams tried. Ghost Army prevailed. And of course, like always, there's a winner and a loser. And again, like I said, there will be also some matches upcoming later on. That being tomorrow, I believe, on Wednesday. And tomorrow, 19:30 CET, the same time as today. And of course, Team Sync facing off against SFAM Esports. So make sure to tune in, as that one will for sure also bring quite a lot of gunfights you can expect, quite a lot of victories, and of course, a lot of stress for these players. But right now, this is going to be it for today. Hi Bear, we will be ending it off, as of course, thanks everyone who was playing. Thank you to all the players for competing, as without them, it would simply not be possible to broadcast. Thank you to the production staff, of course, Unnamed Gamer, Nanos in the background, Bo is even coming around to moderate and all of that. And of course, the massive thanks to you, Hi Bear, for sticking around and, joining me on today's cast, as it was our pleasure, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.